Hey, good evening and namaste everyone. Thanks for joining our second session of live talk show. Let's talk health with noted nutritionist Dr. Sudershan Rao. I'm Sandhya, co-founder of Vridhi Techno, a nutrition support company. We are involved in providing farm fresh, nutrient-rich, safe and hygienic product to our customer. We believe that health can be built only when we are nutritionally aware. So today's topic for discussion is healthy food or healthy diet. They sound similar, right? But they aren't. We'll hear more about it from Doctor. Thank you, Doctor, for joining the show. Thanks.
Yeah, one moment.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing.
Will you be sharing a PPT?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah, good evening. This is the second nutrition awareness program that we are conducting. So, for today's topic that we have selected healthy food or healthy diet, the title itself will be you'll be surprising to know, is there any difference between the food and diet? Many times you feel that you always choose some foods and saying that this is healthy, or you maybe your grandmother told or your mother told you this is a healthy food you should eat. Okay, so individually, uh, every food will have its own constraints and also its own value actually, but that itself is not the diet. All the healthy foods together in proper proportion, if one takes, then that becomes a healthy diet. you know so here basically what we require for our health or well-being is that different types of uh, foods to give you some of them will give you energy. They are called energy foods, and some of them will give bodybuilding, that means the proteins, and some of them provide you the vitamins and minerals. So all the three are essential to our proper nutrition for any person to be very healthy. So as you see here, you can see that rice, wheat, maize, jowar, ragi, these are all basic foods which are considered to be a energy rich foods. That means they are essentially provide you the calories. Okay, so even ghee, vegetable oil, groundnut, all those things. But the other one which is required for our body building is the proteins. Here you see dal or even fish or mutton or meat or whatever. So all those things will have more of protein. And the third one is a protective food. So these are the foods, actually essentially the fruits and vegetables. So they provide you fiber, antioxidants, and some of the nutrients which are actually required to protect. So that's why they are called protective foods, because they'll protect you from getting any disease, like even immunity, all those things are provided by these things. So all these foods in proper proportions, if somebody takes, so that is called balanced diet. So that's how we have to manage our diet, and this is what we call as a my plate. For a 2000 calories, this calories you may be difficult for you to understand, but what we are trying to say is a normal healthy person requires this much amount of foods in this proportion. So this is called balanced diet. You should have at least, if you can see the my plate itself, you can see that half of the plate is actually having fruits, vegetables only. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you are really consuming that much. Okay, so whereas you can see this, the wherever cereals and nutricereals are there, that we'll be consuming more in general, but that have to be reduced. So that is only 240 grams. But when we do the surveys, we find that people consume around 400 grams. The other one we consume more is the fats and oils, because many of the foods at your household and also what you eat outside also will have a lot of fat, and that is when that actually you are supposed to take hardly 2 tablespoons. That's all. per head. And if you really calculate, supposing if your family has a 4 members, so mm, 3 liters per month should be enough. So that's how you should be able to calculate. And the other one is the nuts and seeds, which I think I'm not sure, but I think we are not consuming much. So at least 30 grams every day we should be able to consume any of these seeds. Here the nutrition has nothing to do with your cost of the foods. Nutrition, whether it's a price is less or more, the nutrition quality is different. It has nothing to do with your. So supposing almonds are there, they're very costly, but the groundnut locally available, they are very cheap compared to these things, and both of them equally provide you the micronutrients that we are talking about, and healthy fats that we talk about. And the pulses, these are the protein foods, what we said is the bodybuilding. Here you can have meat, chicken, fish, all those things. And also for vegetarians it is the dals. That's so. And in addition to all these things, we should have milk or curd at least 300 ml per day. So if you consume all these things, this proportion, you will be able to meet your daily requirements for a normal and healthy mm,
Okay.
living. Yeah.
Mm.
uh, okay, so if you have any.
Yeah, the visual representation was really helpful, doctor, to understand, because usually we generally have this challenge. Okay, we've heard a lot about balance diet. How do we make sure that we are having a balanced diet? What is the proportion to be taken? It's a bit confusing. But when you show it visually, that half of your plate, if you manage to cover with vegetables and fruits, and a quarter of your plate is cereals, it is easy to identify. So that was very useful, very helpful to understand quickly on such a important topic. I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions about it from our audience also today. There's few other questions that came to my mind, doctor.
Yeah.
uh, uh, you mentioned about taking in this proportion, the food to be taken in this proportion to make it a balanced diet. Is it necessary that every meal should be in this proportion, or
Uh,
is it
mm,
overall?
no, no, no. Sandhya, here actually it's a very important question that you have asked. Is that this is a 24 diet, 24 hours per day. Within a 24 hours, whatever you say, your break, it will be breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe you will have evening snack, all those things. All together, you should be able to adjust it in such a way that, take for example, for evening snacks, you may just consume only nuts, along with your tea or coffee, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how you try to adjust your total diet, 24-hour diet, in
Okay.
this proportion. That's all. It doesn't mean that in one plate you will have all these things and you will consume it. It is not like that. It is for the entire day.
So in a
And
whole day,
yeah,
like for example, in a whole day, if our cereals form 25 percentage of the total food we took in a day, it should be
yeah,
fine.
it is not 25%. It is a 240 grams. Okay.
240 grams.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's not
Okay.
percentage. Okay. So if it you want to really in percentage, it comes to 45 or 50%.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is nice to understand that. And uh, Doctor, some we often hear that it is necessary we should be having raw food. So in this balanced diet that you had shown, how much of it should we be having as raw?
No, it's see, some of the foods, you even if you want to eat raw also you cannot eat. Take for example rice. Can we
Yeah,
eat rice raw? No. So
not
when we
possible.
are yeah, so what we are talking raw is only fruits or vegetables. Some of them also can be eaten. If take for example maybe leafy vegetables like the palak or spinach. So you can't consume raw that, but you can always consume your carrot. Okay.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah,
meant was,
yeah.
is there a necessary so much portion should be raw,
No,
either
no,
as a
no,
vegetable or
no, no. It's a possible. What we generally say is whatever is possible you can have in a raw form is okay, because we cannot have all the foods in a raw form. So what is possible is only fruits and maybe some of the vegetables only. Of course, take for example these nuts. So they you can have this thing without roasting or adding any salt into these things. You can have groundnut or these ones, right? So they'll be raw only, right? But
Yeah.
pulses you cannot have. But if you
Yeah,
want to have,
obviously, it has to be
yes,
cooked.
yeah. So some of them have to be cooked, but wherever it is possible, you can have raw. You can have it. That actually is a. We are not talking anything different from what we generally do it. Okay, right?
Okay. Okay. And another thing that came to my mind was like you just not spoke about nuts. So seasonally, sometimes we get uh, groundnuts, sometimes it is almonds. Uh, so and similarly with fruits also, seasonal fruits come. So is it necessary that in a balanced diet we should have same kind of food, or
Yeah. No, 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 no. That's not the concept. You see, concept is that you should be actually what we always advise and advocate is that you should have locally available foods only, whatever is. So when we trying to say fruits, we are not trying to say that is you should have only apple, you should have only banana. So whatever is available in your area during that season. So what we say is you should have one fruit, 150 grams of fruit. So what fruit is available to you in that area is left to you, you can consume. So we are not trying to say like in the Western concept that one apple a day will keeps the doctor away. That is not the concept here. It is the
mm,
that whatever is locally available. Okay, even
okay,
so you may have different types of varieties of this thing which are in your area, so you can have that. So we there is nothing. But the point here, basic understanding that we should have is that we should have one fruit a day at least,
yeah.
whatever may be
and
the fruit.
and obviously each of the food has its own unique
Yeah, each see that's the
nutrient.
yeah yes. So another thing that I wanted to tell you is actually your diet should be as diversified as possible. You should not be monotonous that every day you'll have a similar types of diets.
Hmm.
So it's possible in a week you should be able to alternate your this is supposing we are talking about cereals. So one day you can have wheat, another day some this thing a nutri cereal, something like that. You should be able to change it and increase your diversity in your food. So each food has unique composition. Each one will give some extra nutrients that we are talking, not only
They're more wholesome there.
yes, more wholesome. And not only protein, these things, we say also talk about vitamins and minerals, which you get in many of these foods.
Yeah. When you spoke about vitamins, what comes to my mind is of late it's a fad or it's a trend that you take a supplement, particularly when it comes to protein supplements are so much in demand today. Or whenever if you think that okay you might be lacking vitamin C, take the pill. So is that sufficient or does it compensate equally to a balanced diet?
Yeah, yeah, nothing. You cannot replace your food with any supplement. No?
Mm,
Okay. So when we are talking about supplements, first thing is that they'll give you impression saying that you are not having enough balanced diet. That's why there will be some deficiency. So that's where we are trying to say is that you consume balanced diet, you don't need any of the supplements or anything. So you try to. And second thing is the advantage of having food itself rather than supplement is that supplement will have only particular nutrients, but when we take food we get multiple nutrients which are packed naturally in the nature, and they are more beneficial than having a supplement.
mm. Like a protein powder might give you only protein and the other
Yeah,
things, the
yeah,
fiber and
yeah,
many
that's
other
that.
antioxidants that come with
Yes,
it
yes,
is
yes,
missing.
yes, yes. If you, I don't know, many of you, your audience, I mean, the consumers may be actually seeing the advertisements on the TV. Okay, they always say that balanced diet. Then you say, take for example, I many times see. I think I hope that your audience aura must be looking this type of advertisement. They say rice bran oil is being advertised
Yeah,
more on the TV, right?
yeah. One of the best oils is what they
One
say.
of the best oils because it has a original, that is the this thing bioactive compound that provides you that will reduce your cholesterol. Okay, so to that level of that statement is correct. but it should be a part of your balanced diet. Okay,
Mm.
so consuming rice brown oil alone will not help you to reduce the cholesterol itself, because there are so many other things which are also required to maintain your cholesterol in your body. And second thing is, as we said, as you see from this table itself, I mean this photograph itself, our consumption of fat cannot go beyond 2 tablespoons per day. So supposing I say that because rice bran oil is good for health, you cannot consume more. Okay, so that should be part of your
Okay.
total diet. And second thing is, when we talk about the oils itself, we always say that one oil will not be able to provide you all the fatty acids that are required for our growth. So
Mm.
each oil has a unique composition. So we should be able to alternate these oils. Don't go by only one oil every day. I mean for entire month. So you should be able to alternate at least 2 to 3 different oils, so that you get all the types of fatty acids that are required for our proper health.
Okay. Okay, doctor. Another technical question that comes to the mind is, what variation should we bring in this balanced diet? Because in a family, you have young children, you have elderly people.
Yeah.
The meal might be same.
Yeah. I
So,
see. Actually, what happens is that the at least for growing children, the oil, I mean, fat should be double of what is actually has been shown. This is, I said, this is a very normal person,
for a
uh,
grown-up adult.
grown up adult, which is who are considered to be sedentary workers. That means we don't do any heavy work. Okay, so but if growing children need something extra, like especially this fat, they require more than what I have shown here, because their body requirements will be so. Similarly, for pregnant women, the protein requirements goes up. Okay, and elderly, they consume less, so they have to be treated little bit. So if you teach us, take for example, you are making a food for your entire family, so each one will definitely have the same food, but only difference between them will be the quantity that they consume.
Mm.
Okay, so but what we are trying to say is, the children definitely need much more than what I have shown here, because their body requirements during growth requires much more. Even this pregnant and lactating women also require a little extra this thing nutrition than what is shown here. So it will vary according to the age groups also.
Okay. So depending on their age groups also, the meal can be same, just the proportion needs to be adjusted
Yeah.
accordingly.
Take for example, if we are talking about that the children has to take little more oil,
On
so maybe their snacks will, they may need to be given more snacks or something like that.
snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, doctor. Uh, I will start looking for the questions from the audience. There's a question. Any preferred timing for the consumption? I have heard some are better avoided in the evening.
No, we don't say anything specifically like that. You should avoid this. What we, as I told you, that your entire day, because of course, generally people say that we should avoid having spicy foods in the evening because it will disturb your sleep or something like that. But that is, we are not talking in that terms at all. But here, when we say balanced diet, you should be here. We are not shown any spices also, right?
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, so
So
there is nothing like that. Only thing is that you should give a lot of gap between your this thing,
meals.
meals, and also between meals and your sleep, because you should not consume and then immediately sleep. So there should be some gap for digestion.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. There's one more question. Is there a good alternative for milk that can provide us with the same nutrition?
No, see, milk actually, I think that's very good question. You say this, milk is a complete food. Actually, milk, if for early 6 months of the baby, we say we don't, she should not be given anything except milk, right?
Hmm.
Mother's milk.
Hmm.
So that means it's a complete food.
Hmm.
So nobody has made any substitute for that in the nature.
Okay.
Okay, so every mammals is that who give this milk. So all these mammals initially they get total complete nutrition only from milk.
Mm.
So that's so unique. You can't. I mean,
Substituted.
yeah, substitute it. So if some substitutes they talk about, supposing if dairy whitener, you sometimes people will have dairy whitener. Okay,
Mm.
that is only to make tea or coffee or something like that. But it acts like a milk for that purpose only. But it doesn't give all the nutrition that we are talking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so because it is dehydrated, some of those net nutrients are gone. That there essentially the purpose is that's why it's called dairy whitener. It just gives you that
For the tea, the color for the tea.
yeah, whitening and also a little bit of taste because of lactose. So, but it is not a total replacement for your milk. So there is nothing that because I think this question came because there is a fad now saying that you should avoid milk or something like that. So they
Yeah,
are
and
looking for.
many of them are not tolerant to it also.
Yeah,
They,
no,
the
that
stomach,
milk, no, lactose intolerance will be there for some people. So they go for this, either soya milk. Soya
and
milk is also available, but each one is unique. So this is not a replacement for that because you cannot tolerate that
mm,
milk. So you can have soya milk also.
okay. But there's one more question. Is consumption of rice required for balance or energy, or can it be avoided totally? Rice has been part of the daily diet in this part of geography. Obviously, in India, it's been.
Yeah, madam. So what we are trying to say is now we are consuming a little more, so you can reduce to 240 grams for this age group. So you get you supposing if you are probably going to north, they are consuming only wheat. They may not be having rice at all.
Yeah.
So there is nothing this thing because this that. So theoretically, you can always say that you can always replace. But is it possible? If it is possible, you can do it.
And
Okay,
like you had
so
shown in the plate,
yeah,
there are
yeah, yeah.
many choice
Yeah,
when it comes to
any choice.
cereals.
Yes, yes.
So alternating between one to other, keep.
Yeah, because it is alternating is always better. You get all types
Yeah,
of nutrients.
like you rightly said, each food has its unique nutrient composition. So
Yes.
alternating between the foods, food is always good.
Yeah. So
That
yeah, tell me.
yes, that. No, you were
Yeah,
saying
go.
something.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, that give me another question that came to my mind. When it comes to diabetic people, they have a lot of restriction. How do they manage to take a balanced diet? Because they've been advised to avoid certain food.
No, madam. So here the point we are trying to say for diabetics is essentially so they should avoid high glycemic foods. That means a food if you consume immediately the glucose comes into your blood. So that is called high glycemic food. So we should only avoid those things. Otherwise, rest all is fine. There's absolutely not that restriction is essentially to tell this you should have low glycemic food. That means if you are having raw or less polished rice, all that type of thing where the fiber is a little more. That type of food, if you take, your blood sugar levels will be actually normalized. So they only advise you on that. And of course, sugar should be totally, as far as should be avoided. But as I said earlier, sugar is not required for our body. You need not have to have a sugar from outside. So from all these foods, body itself will produce glucose, which is required for our health.
Okay, fine. So basically, a highly fibrous food is
Yeah.
automatically something that is of
Yeah.
low glyc or high glycemic index.
No. Low
It's
glycemic.
a low. It's a low.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the lower it is better for the diabetic people.
Yes. So it's many of the raw foods will have low.
Okay.
Okay. Once it is cooked, the glycemic index goes up. And of course,
So
some of the fruits will
so
have high glycemic. Yeah.
So does it mean the cooking, because it breaks the food,
Yeah,
its
yeah.
glycemic index is going higher
Yes,
and
yes,
higher?
yes, 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 yes.
Okay, thank you for that input. And I'll just check if there are other questions. I think that, yeah, that's it. That's the questions that we have. And yeah, another question that I had in mind was about uh, different. I mean, the food changes from region to region. So we always hear that have as much closer to what is there to your region. But today's world, we end up getting from different food which are of other regions everywhere. It's available everywhere. There's nothing that you are having local food. So how does that does that
Yeah,
cause any concern
uh,
or
yeah, no, definitely. That's what I was trying to say, that a lot of these things are being advertised as healthy foods, right? So you think that because I'll give this example: almonds and pistachios. Now,
yeah,
yeah, they are being advertised as a healthy foods.
yeah, almost made compulsory?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is actually business tactic, by because these countries, they are where they're producing, they don't have consumers. Consumers are
Okay.
only in India and China. So
Mm.
they try to, but nutritionally there is absolutely, as I said, that there is no this thing, any locally available nut is as good as your almond or cashew. So we always suggest you to have the locally available foods, and don't go by this advertisement other thing, and try to just pick up which is imported from other countries and trying to say that this is good for your health. So that is not correct. So go by what is locally available. And also, as I said earlier also, the price of any new food doesn't indicate that it is nutritionally superior. Price and the nutrition has no relation. Okay, so if you say something healthy, it need not be costly. So locally available fruits are as good as those things they are being imported from other countries.
Yeah, I think greens and Goa is a very good example that
Yeah, Goa
price
is a
may
very,
not be an indicator for it to be
yeah,
nutritious.
yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for all your inputs. I thank the audience also for participating with their questions. We'll see you next time in our next show in the next month. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.